Hello everyone, this is Kevin from the Austin Public Library welcoming you back to Discover Your World's Superlative Structures. In this lesson we're going to be looking at bridges and tunnels, some creations that people have made to get from here to there. We're going to be seeing some of the biggest and most interesting ones, and we're going to start with Tower Bridge. Tower Bridge crosses the Thames River in London. This is not London Bridge, which also crosses the Thames. That's about a half-mile away. Now, Tower Bridge looks like it was built a very long time ago with its classic architecture style. But it wasn't. It was only built about 126 years ago. Those towers aren't just for show either. They house all the machinery that lifts the bridge up and down. This is a drawbridge. At a span of 270 feet, it's by far not the longest bridge on this list, but it might be the prettiest. Next up is the Brooklyn Bridge. The Brooklyn Bridge took a very long time to build, and when it was eventually completed in 1883, it was the first steel suspension bridge in the world, as well as the longest bridge in the world at the time. This was built in the East River and it was very difficult to build. They had to build these pressure domes in there, and people who were working in them kept getting sick. They were coming down with this illness known as the bends or decompression sickness that would make them nauseous in good cases, or in bad cases, they would get permanently injured or even die. That included the chief engineer of the project who died while it was still being done. There was over 10 years of work left, and his wife ended up taking over. It was very rare for a woman to be in charge of such a large project at the time, but she served as the chief engineer and supervisor until it was completed. At 1,600 feet in span, the Brooklyn Bridge is still a very impressive bridge, and thousands of people still use it today. The Johor-Singapore Causeway was finished in 1924, and it connects Singapore to Malaysia. This is the busiest border crossing in the world. Remember, these are two separate countries with a third of a million people crossing it each day, mostly commuters coming from Malaysia to Singapore for work. The Malau Viaduct is the tallest bridge in the world. You'll find this cable-stayed motorway over the valley of the River Thames in France. At 1,104 feet tall, it actually surpasses the Eiffel Tower in height. It's kind of hard to imagine how big that is, so if we look at a panoramic view, we can get a better idea. Wow, what a sight. The Danyang Kunshan Grand Bridge holds the record for the longest bridge in the world. It was finished in 2011, and it's in the Yangtze River Delta Valley in China. The Yangtze River Delta is one of the most populated places in the world with a population density of 7,000 people per square mile. This bridge helps people get around that very packed place, crossing over rice paddies, rivers, lakes, and canals. With a length of 102.4 miles, this is one serious bridge. Now we're done with the bridges, so let's look at some of the tunnels. The Guoliang Tunnel in China is only 0.75 miles long, so it's not impressive due to its length. No, it's impressive because of how it was built. Guoliang is a very remote village in China. They were cut off from the rest of the world, so they decided to build a tunnel through the mountain to connect with everybody else. Well, they only had hand tools, so it was a very difficult process. This tunnel has a nickname. It's called the road that tolerates no mistakes, and that's not just because some people died in its construction. The roadway itself is very narrow. If two cars are trying to go past, one wrong move and it's off the mountain. It's very dangerous. This tunnel was just built to connect this village, but it also made the village a little bit of a tourist attraction and brought more traffic. And as we just said, the road is very narrow, so a little bit of a mixed blessing. Next up is one of the most famous tunnels in the world, the Channel Tunnel. The Channel Tunnel connects the island of Britain to mainland Europe. At a price tag of $15 billion, ended up costing about double what they were expecting. But this tunnel has proven to be very useful. With both the UK and France as part of the European Union, it made trade quick and easy. Well, that is until the UK in 2016 voted to leave the European Union, and now there's some worries about traffic in the tunnel and customs, and well, hopefully they figure it all out. Next up is the Smart Tunnel in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. Kuala Lumpur is a very busy city and it's a huge tourist destination, so the two extra lanes for cars in here helps alleviate some traffic. But that's not all the tunnel does. The tunnel has a third layer that holds water. You see, Kuala Lumpur is in the tropics, rainforest area, so they get a lot of rain. And when storms come, this tunnel helps. But when really big storms come, this is when the tunnel's magic happens. The entire tunnel can be converted to drain away rainwater. And in a storm in 2019, 1.3 million cubic meters of water were drained away from the city. Now, a cubic meter is 274 gallons, So doing a little math, it's almost 500 million gallons of water were taken away from the city. That saved a lot of damage. Next up is the Saikan Tunnel. This tunnel connects Honshu and Hokkaido, and if you're not up on your Japanese geography, those are the two largest islands in the country, so this was a very important connection. This is the second longest tunnel in the world, and it was the longest tunnel for a long time, from 1998 to about 4 years ago. It's still the longest underwater tunnel, although the underwater part is a little bit shorter than the English Channel. At 33.4 miles long, this is a serious feat of engineering, but comes in a bit smaller than the Gotthard Base Tunnel. This is the longest and the deepest tunnel in the world, going 35.5 miles in length and 1.6 miles under the ground. You'll find this tunnel in Switzerland. It goes under the Alps. There's plenty of rail tunnels under the Alps. They've been building them since the 1800s when rail systems were first being made, but none of them come even close to the length and depth of the Gotthard Base Tunnel. Well, that's it. We did it. We looked at 10 amazing bridges and tunnels from around the world. In our next lesson, we're going to see some more engineering feats that don't fit into any other category. This has been Kevin from the Austin Public Library, reminding you to always be discovering your world. Bye-bye.